All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to day 3. We are going to have some fun today. We're going to make cross-chain tokens. We're going to get some hands-on, and I am going to explain the value of moving stuff cross-chain. So let me take a look at the chat here. All right, we've got well over 100 people. I'm so excited to be here with all of you, and it's just what an incredible time, right? Regardless of what's going on in the world, it's so exciting that we can get together. We can do technology through the wonder of the internet, right? We can be streaming like this. I am really excited to speak with you today. So let's go ahead and do a little intro. Who is this guy in front of you? So I have been around in tech for 30 years. I've been coding tech for 30 years. I don't know if you could see, but over on this side, I have Commodore Amiga computers. I am one of those nerds that loves building retro tech, right? So it's all World of Warcraft and EverQuest and Dungeons and Dragons and Star Wars up here. Yes, there's a little Satoshi. Thank you. Yes, you see up there. Yeah, I have. Gosh, I should give a tour like on YouTube around this somewhere. But yeah, little Satoshis, the little holder for Bitcoin. I did 20 years in big tech, so some of you may recognize me from Microsoft or Amazon. I did, 11 years at Amazon. I just left, and I was employee 1 for developer marketing in Alexa. So if you're out there looking at Alexa stuff, you might still see some videos from me. I got to work with Jeff. We launched Fire TV and Fire Phone and Kindle and Microsoft. I worked on Xbox, and throughout all of that, my real passion is I get bored so easily, y'all. Like, I just love new tech. I love disruption, and I love like seeing where things go. So Chainlink reached out to me about a year ago and was like, hey, what do you think about smart contracts? What do you think about, like, as a Web 2 in this space? What do you think about this space, right? And I started getting into Bitcoin in 2018. I did the whole Bitcoin mining thing, and I still remember it was like trying to figure out what the heck a blockchain is, right? I empathize with all of you. What does it mean to be decentralized, right? And I was like, you know what? I think it's time. I think it's time to get to do that for a living. And a little piece of feedback, or little trivia, I guess, Easter egg. I actually did my interview in Solana and Rust and VS Code because I had worked on Amazon Q, which is Amazon's AI engine, kind of like Copilot. So I did all of that. Oh, thank you for saying my age. Yes, I'm actually a lot older than I look. I'll tell you, I'm actually over 50, if you can believe. But I am a child at heart. I just love and learn, man. That's what I tell people. You never take yourself too seriously and keep having fun. So I just fell in love with this place. It's been 1 year. It'll be 1 year next month. I get to meet all of you. Community is my passion. If you're familiar with the Amazon system, I helped create the Alexa Champions program as part of the AWS Heroes program. And my view on life is I'm here to make you all successful. Right? Like anything else, we're all going to learn different. Some of you are going to come across this stream on YouTube, not too long from now, and you're going to be like, hey, there's a presentation. I want to see a presentation, right? And here's the presentation. If you're just joining on day 3, everything we have. So, the team I'm on with Richard and Sol and Javier and Kevin, and they're all, here. This is like a passion for us. Like, we put together the certs, we put together all of this. We wanted to make it free, and we all learn differently. Like, for me, I learned from Richard. I remember the first time it's only been about a year I've been doing Solidity, and I was like, I just want to see someone do this. And Richard, I found a video of him making an NFT, right? So my hope is in here, you got everything you need so that you can learn however you want to learn. And you could take your time. You can go back here. You could put Dave on 2x. You could put me on half an X. Do give us feedback. If you all love this, like Richard and I have been doing some stuff in person. I happen to be on the East Coast between Philly and New York City in the States, but we have people all over the world. we just want to get this content out there for you to help yourself, and be part of this, because I do think, and if you go look on LinkedIn, you'll see an article I wrote. I do think the world is changing. I do think right now that blockchain and decentralization combined with AI is going to be the backbone of so much. And I don't know about you. I am tired of, stuff not being out there. Where is money flowing? Who can we trust? What is real? Right? And I feel like it's the same feeling, y'all, I had at the beginning of the internet, mobile. I helped launch, back then it was called Windows Azure, but Microsoft Azure, like, it's the same feeling. So if you're watching this video, like, take a step back and be like, I'm part of this. Like, it doesn't stay this way. It gets boring fast, right? But it's here. And we're all here to help you all out too. It's something like this. I've got an hour and a half, and there's people here of all different skill sets. So just look at this as your base point where you can get everything you need. My agenda today is to talk about moving value cross-chain, right? And that's where Chainlink CCIP comes in. Yeah, seeing the comments here. Great, I feel you all. Yeah. I think this is where the market is, right? So I'm always looking at like career buys, because that's always how I was wired. I didn't grow up with much. Technology has given me a life. I've been able to provide for a family, create a better life for my kids and my parents. And so I'm always looking at like, I want to do this every day and build. And I do think that a big career is going to be a person who can move value cross-chain. There are so many banks, enterprises that have been building their own private blockchains. And so it's not just one or the other, right? I love them all. I got stickers on here for Ethereum and Bitcoin and Chainlink and Solana and Sui, and that's just more market for all of us as developers. But being able to understand that the value, and our founder Sergey talks about this too, right? The golden record. If you own something, right, that's just going to exist on chain somewhere. And it doesn't matter where it moves in finality. It's going to move through all of these different chains. There's going to be thousands of them, right? And that's going to be a lot of fun to build. And that's my hope today, is to explain that for you, is what this is all about, why we're here, and how we can learn it. And buckle up, because we're sitting here in 2025. This stuff's going to change so much, right, over the years. And if you're like me, if you're a person who loves to learn, I am totally cool with like a year from now, I feel like I don't know anything. But it always gets better. When I first started looking into smart contracts, there was nothing like we had in Web 2 with VS Code and everything. There wasn't even a lot of testing frameworks. And now we've got that. Now you can use Copilot for this stuff. I used Amazon Q with Solana, so it's like, it's coming. So it's exciting times. All right. So let's start off with interoperability. And this is what you think it is, right? You have learned from Richard and Saul this week that blockchains are isolated, right? They operate independently and they can't communicate natively. And that's by design. We store everything on chain, so it's secure. We've had finality, we've had consensus. We don't want people going in and messing with that, right? We all agree information on the blockchain should stay there on the blockchain. But we all live in the real world, and there are all sorts of pieces of information that we want to get to. And Saul did a good job yesterday of showing this, of calling out, right? Calling out to data streams. If I'm building something and I want to know the price of tokens, right? That's not going to exist on chain. We want that to be, the ability to move things back and forth. So even these kinds of interoperability systems, it's all incompatible. The goal of Chainlink, right, linking the chains, is let's get a standard where we can all communicate, back and forth, which I wish we had in the world, right? Although I don't know about you all, but I think it's music for me. That is the language we all speak, and touches our hearts without permission. Do we have a link for the slides? Yes, we have a link for the slides, and Javier can post that. Okay. So being able to share and understand and trust the information that's coming across, it's not just tokens. It's imagine we live in a future where your medical information or something like that, you want that to move between hospitals. I don't know about you all, but in the U.S., that is not a seamless thing that happens, you know, so the ability to have that is super important. Finality. So I have a little Bitcoin node. You won't see it here. It runs off a Raspberry Pi. On that little Raspberry Pi is every single Bitcoin transaction that's ever happened since Bitcoin was created. And I don't know about you, that just blows my mind, right? Like imagine every single financial transaction that's ever happened in the stock exchange on this little Raspberry Pi sitting over on my desk. And so past transactions are all part of the blockchain, and they can't be altered, reversed. You heard Richard talk about this, the immutability, right? And having multiple confirmations. And so interoperability and finality. I'm seeing someone, did I work for Blizzard before? No, just super fan. We could talk about World of Warcraft and Diablo and all day long. But yeah, and I did, here's a little inside information. I did get to work with Blizzard on getting Hearthstone on the Amazon Kindle tablets. And that was such a joy working with them, like working directly with employees and all. All right, so we need to establish trust and keep interoperability and finality. And so when you see CCIP, that's all it is. I think of it like TCIP, right? Everything runs on TCIP. HTTP runs on it too. We don't think about it day to day. I just want to go to Amazon, right? Or I want to go to ChatGPT or something. I don't really think about the protocols that are being used because it's everywhere and it just works. And we'll get there, right? That's what this is. It's Chainlink's cross-chain interoperability protocol. And so 3 core capabilities of this, right? The first is to transfer tokens. And you got to see Richard built one in ERC20. And remember, that's an Ethereum standard using the Solidity programming language. And ERC20 is part of the EVM, so the Ethereum virtual machine. And so if I have an EVM compatible chain like Ronin, which you saw, I have the ability to create ERC20 tokens on that. What I'm going to do today, and you're all going to be able to follow along, is we're going to create an ERC20 token on Ronin, and then we're going to add compatibility for additional chains. I'll probably use Base today, which is Coinbase's blockchain. Then you have the ability to have an external wallet. So EOA is externally owned account, just a fancy acronyms, because boy, do we love acronyms in tech, right? The amount of acronyms I had to learn, DONs and EOAs and like everything when I went in. So I hear you if you are on acronym overload. It's just a wallet. Your wallet's just an interface to the blockchain. The more you use this, you realize everything just exists on chain. My wallet's just an API. I'm looking at stuff on chain. And then we have the ability to send messaging, right? So you can actually send a message where it's not an actual transaction on the blockchain, right? It's just a message. And messages, think of like in programming events. If an event happens, I'm not going to write that event on the blockchain, right? And it's something that happens, you know, in parallel. And here's a little Easter egg. If you, I don't know if I'll let you find it if you're interested. So we have a thing called transporter.io. If you go to one of my first projects here, gosh, it's almost a year ago. They were like, go figure this out, Dave. And I loved it because I wanted a project for Solidity. I wrote the ability for you to send a message using Transporter and mint an NFT. And it uses VRF. So if you win one of these rare, it's about 10%, you get a golden NFT, and it's a little spinning transporter. It's only on testnet, though, so you got to go to testnet.transporter.io and look for message. So you can do things like that, right? And then programmable token transfers. I think this will be huge. This will be huge for just think of like banks, or you may, here's another acronym for you, warning, RWAs, right? So real world assets. So that's just tokenizing physical things. So if I say I want to put a mortgage as a digital representation, that's an RWA, right? It's pointing to an actual piece of real estate. And so I could do a programmable token transfer. It's like I am selling my house or a piece of real estate. When that happens, I want all these different people to be notified. I want to kick off, you know, legal processes. All of that can happen programmatically. And you can imagine, I mean, if you've worked in any industry, stuff happens asynchronously, right? There's a bunch of things that need to happen. So the ability to do that programmatically while we're building these things, it's just super cool to be able to do that. All right. Now, these are going to be a bit of a eyesore, but it's important to have it. Oh, somebody says, when we pass this class, do we get a certificate? No for the certificate, but if you go ahead and let me actually show you, because this is important for everybody. You could do this at any time too, by the way. So if you go to dev.chain.link/certification, and I'll go back here at the end and show you too. This is our team. We put this certification together. One of the joys I get is if you all go through the course and you pass the certification, it's like the AWS certs where it'll give you a verified cert that you can post on LinkedIn. Just hit me up on my socials. I do have a lot of people that follow me on social for some reason. And I am happy to retweet, to congratulate you. It is a milestone. And I'm not, I think it's great. It's something to go through. It's self-paced. And you should think of this as, ancillary to that. As a way to learn. And that's all free too. Again, I mentioned that earlier. My team, we just want to make this all available to you and with as much resources as we possibly can for free. It's all up to you. It's all up to you how much time, blood, sweat, and tears you put into all of this, right? And be kind to yourself too. As someone who's continually learned technology, I have been way too hard on myself over the years. Like the fact that you're all even here, be kind to yourself. Write down a term. I do like phone reminders every day for a term. I just did that for SVR, smart value recapture. My brain wouldn't learn that, and now it's in there. So repetition's key. One of the things I do as a presenter too, as I go through, is I'm going to show you things. I'm going to show you them again, and then I'm going to show you again in different ways, because that's how we learn, right? We see things. I think it's somewhere around 7 times it starts to feel familiar. All right, so here's a high-level architecture. Your brain's going to be shouting, I don't know what all these acronyms are. I don't know what's going on here, Dave. Don't worry about it. This is just the first time you're seeing some of this stuff. And as we go through it, you're going to be like, oh, wait, I remember a diagram was there. I got Dave's slides. I'm going to go back to the diagram. So what you're seeing here, 2 different blockchains. I'm sitting over here on Ethereum on the left, and you're sitting over there on Ronin on the right. And I am that DApp user, decentralized app, right? And I'm on that source blockchain, and I'm on that destination blockchain, right? So what I'm showing you here is that there are 2 routers, okay? And think of a router. Everybody's probably got a router in their house. I rebooted my router before this because my kids are big gamers. And if they're home, man, does the bandwidth go down. So, reboot the router always before presentation, Dave, right? I got that in my head, repetition. So we're going to just send a message with the destination chain. So we tell routers how to find the other router, okay? And we like to throw a lot of acronyms at that. So we'll say things like routers and lanes and all of that. But all it means is I'm going to call from one smart contract on the source blockchain that you see over here, another smart contract on the destination blockchain. And you as a developer, you're just pointing it to those smart contracts, and Chainlink's doing all of that work for you. And we can send across data or tokens, and that's what you're seeing here in this middle. Right? Makes sense? So then you're seeing your DApp on the destination, right? Destination is X, that's where I want to send it. And this is the basics of how things are moving cross-chain, right? Now we start to add some complexity to these. And there's, it's like we have all, Richard and so on, it's like, how do we make this simpler? I wanted to do it. I wanted to do like D&D, like have I almost did this for minting where burn and mint, like Phoenix, it dies and then it rises again in a fire on the destination chain, right? Like fun kind of things like that. But it's hard to describe all this. So I want you to just focus on each individual piece as we go through, because it'll be important at a conceptual level when we build, and then I'll point you back. You can go to these slides and see all this gobbledygook anytime you want, as well as the documentation. You can get as much in the weeds as you'd like. All right, so CCIP connects via blockchain networks. So Ronin, Ethereum, Base, via lanes, all right? And those lanes need to be operational. You can see here, I have a blue line coming down, right? And a black line going back up. And so the lane is unique to each chain. And so there's going to be a specific lane for the source and a specific lane for the destination. I remember when I was coding that transporter thing, I could not for the life of me keep straight what was a lane and what was a router. We've made that a lot easier. That was one of the first pieces of feedback I gave to the team. Was like, hey, I'm new to this. Let me figure this out. I'm going to show you a graphical tool that we just launched with CCIP 1.51 that makes it even easier. Like my brain sees it and I'm like, all right, it makes sense. And you can do stuff graphically now as well. It's important for you to understand how to build this stuff code-wise. All right, so moving from blockchain A to blockchain C is going to be a different lane than if you would move from blockchain C to blockchain A. That makes sense? All right, so each path has a unique lane. Remember that. Now, there are a bunch of different blockchains that we support. And each time we create support for a new blockchain, we will create these lanes for you. And you're going to see those, they have different IDs. And I'm going to show you in a piece of code as well where that is. Okay. Chain selector. You can go in and we can drop up here, and I'll actually show you this. Here's our new cool graphical tool. And I love this thing. I love how stuff's popping up here now. And if you have any feedback on the graphical stuff too, the team's really, I've worked with a lot of different usability teams across big tech and my career, and I really love our designers here. And I'm not just blowing smoke. I really do. So let's say we want to look at a specific chain. I'll just pick Arbitrum, for example, right? You can see router, and you're like, oh, Dave said router. So I recognize there's a router there, all right? So we got the router. I'm going to tell you what RMN is in a minute, the risk management network. But again, you're just seeing this. So now it's sinking in, and you're like, okay, Dave said lanes, here's lanes. So I have outbound lanes. So what this means is Arbitrum can connect and send value to all of these destination networks, okay? And you'll see Sonium's on here too, which was just announced. The team adds support pretty quick. Then we have inbound lanes. So these are all blockchains that Arbitrum would be able to receive value from. And you have the ability to scroll around. And one of the things I did when we first made this, it was just look at USDC. I did a live stream with the Circle folks with USDC, and you can show like how this can interact with their stuff as well, with their CCP. This is a great way to kind of see, what's the limit that you can send. So if you're sending 100,000 USDC, congratulations for you. What are you still doing here, right? Be on a beach somewhere. But you'll see all of these things are going to happen in code, all right? So you're going to see things, lanes, inbound, outbound, destination network. We're going to be able to set our rate capacity. We're going to be able to set the refill rate, right? And then the mechanisms, right? Burning and minting, or locking and minting, and all of those, okay? Question, is this like a bridge? Kind of. It's the ability to send value cross-chain, whereas a bridge, for those that aren't familiar, you could bounce all over the place. With Chainlink, it goes through the secure Chainlink network. It's a single lane, and value is being passed through that decentralized network. Okay. Making sense so far, folks? Everybody, everything's vibing, picking up on it. We're all learning. All right. It's so funny, this button on my clicker, because I'm so used to being on stage and stuff too. It's today it's like, no, Dave, you have to hit me twice, and it's messing with my head. Okay, so cross-chain message, you can send both tokens and data cross-chain. Oh, Val's here. Hey, Val, straight up button. So CCIP sender, okay? This is when you saw in that little graph there when we have routers, the sender is going to be an externally owned account, my wallet, and any smart contract. And then we're going to have a receiver, okay, which is also going to be an externally owned account. smart contract, and it's going to implement this Solidity file. Everybody remember yesterday seeing the .sol? I love that Sol's name is Sol and Solidity is .sol. I wish there was like a .dev language. That would be cool. I'm not that cool. CCIP receiver is basically going to be what receives. So hopefully now you picture in your head, all right, Dave said there's a smart contract that Chainlink put out on this blockchain and another smart contract that Chainlink put on this blockchain. They're going to communicate. That's what it looks like in code. So we're going to go ahead and pull that, right? And you only, if you send a message, you only tokens will arrive, right? And this is just a disclaimer because we have to put that in. The router is going to be the contract responsible for doing all of the cross-chain interactions. There's only one router that exists per chain. So remember that nice little diagram? You saw a router there. Each chain had its router. That's the one that's going to figure out how this stuff goes across lanes and gets there. Okay, this one is going to hurt your brain. I apologize. Don't try and think about everything that's going on the right. It'll get highlighted as we go through. But trust me, you'll go back to this. I've gone back to this. I would go back to the docs and be like, all right, what's actually happening and when is it happening when? And I can like deal with stuff happening as long as I know why it's happening, right? So it's happening so we don't lose any value, so that we are sending this securely and safely. And so the wizard engineers that created it did this in certain steps and certain sequences to ensure that and ensure finality. And that's why there's so many steps here, which is, I always like breaking down complex stuff into as simple as possible when teaching. You know, it's a good challenge. Although I don't know if you mentioned, Richard was an actual school teacher. So he's got more on me when it comes to teaching complex concepts. Okay, so 3 domains: source chain, destination chain, off chain. Sol showed you price feeds yesterday. That was something that was coming off chain. Today, remember, we're talking about transferring value across chain. So obviously we're going to have a chain that's our source and a chain that's our destination. The contracts are going to be developed by external developers, right? So this is what we're going to write today. Everything else in this system we've built for you. And you can just take advantage of that by calling our SDK. Commit. All right, so this is going to happen in stages, and I'm going to show you this. So you'll see these stages. It's like commit, finalize, blessed, success. So each phase, if you pass that phase, you can be sure that certain things happened, okay? So if we're at the commit phase, we're ready to send a message. We've got a routing message. Everything is good to go. Like, we know where we need to go, and our message looks good. Then we're going to have finality, right? So as we go and look, this is an important thing. Like when we go back to, this took me a while. It's funny how you laugh at yourself as you're learning things, right? I forget which point this light bulb came in, but coming from like being a Bitcoin miner, right? Which those blocks are usually finalized within 10 minutes. And thinking about that my little Bitcoin node would be updated in 10 minutes. As I started to go through this, I'm like, oh, everything that has to happen, I have to wait for it to be finalized. And so you'll see this all, like if you're on a test net and you're at a hackathon and everybody's doing something at the same time on the test net, suddenly your whole process just slows down. And you're like, that's right, I'm not on my computer or the cloud, I'm on a blockchain. Right? And so this should sink in here, is this finality commitment. This is the uniqueness. This is the power. You know, it's writing to a blockchain. It's not writing to some SQL Server database that's going to get hacked by some company or a cloud's going to go down, right? It's a blockchain. And Richard showed some of that with the, I'm assuming you showed some of this, Richard, of just like what it looks like with encryption and all of that, right? And so we're looking to have at least some finalization here, right? At least having some consensus as we move through. So it won't start transporting value. That's all you need to know until that happens, okay? When that stuff happens, we get blessed or we get cursed. I do like this. This is kind of like D&D, right? You're casting like remove curse or bless in a 10-foot radius. So we're going to wait for that commitment. Everything is committed on the source chain. And then we're either going to bless or curse that transaction before we attempt to communicate with the destination chain, okay? And this is that RMN that you saw up there, or Risk Management Network. This is the secret sauce, all the magic that happens to make sure that transactions are doing what they're supposed to do and we're actually safe to send value. I can't tell you, I'm sure this has happened to all of you. I was one of those people that was totally caught up in the NFT craze, and I was up on OpenSea. I remember, like, I won't name any names, but some big brands I was trying to get NFTs, and my transactions would fail and I would lose the gas. And that's when, like, gas was like insane, you know, and then you're just a sad panda the rest of the day. So this is all of that. We're only going to spend your gas when everything's good to go. We're not going to just like fail, right? And you're like, oh, that was a waste of money. So we got to make sure we do all of this stuff when we're moving cross-chain. So the Dawn, right, our decentralized Oracle network, it comprises many oracles. They're all running. Remember, Richard talked about each node. It's a computer. It's a bunch of computers out there waiting for the message to be committed. It's going to get blessed by our risk management network, and then it's going to go ahead and send everything, right? So that's the execute phase. This stuff will come up. You'll see it like when you're looking at code, and I'm going to show you some stuff. The first example we're going to do, I just want you all to follow along. And you'll see little bits and pieces, and you're like, yep, I know what that is now. The second piece, we're all going to try and do together. And I think you'll feel super empowered when you build this stuff. Okay. Losing gas hurts my soul too. I have made so many mistakes all in this space. I don't want to, I could do like an hour-long confessional of wallets, not having all my wallets secure, not moving things. And it's part of the learning process, right? All right. So here's the workflow. Here it is all together so that everybody can be nice and confused. Now, I'm just kidding. It's not that scary. It's just breaking up that first diagram into a little bit more detail, right? Yeah, if you haven't made mistakes, you aren't learning. I agree. There's no mistakes. There's just lessons. So here we have source blockchain and destination chain, and the Chainlink stuff happening in the middle. Same diagram as before, but now since I've introduced all these terms, you're seeing what's happening. Okay, so we have the sender, which is an EOA or your wallet. We want to send some data and tokens. You now know what the router is, but what we're doing in this diagram is breaking what happens after the router. Okay, so you have any time that you want to cross onto another chain, you're going to hit this on ramp. All right. Now you have a process to do things through the token pool. We're gonna go through this, and there's different ways you can lock, you can burn. So that's what you're seeing happening here. Then we're going to go and we're going to go to the committing Dawn and the executing Dawn. So you can hit in your transaction, you'll see these errors. If something happens and you get cursed, right, you're not going to execute onto the chain. It's all going to be, it has to be committed and blessed and ready to go. And it's the RMN, or the risk management network, that is working here where everything resides. So you can see that there's two different, there's the committing and the executing, and there's the risk management network that you can see off chain. I don't know how hard that is to read with those blue colors on your screen, but a bit of an eyesore, but that's how everything works. Make sense? All right, threw a bunch of terms at you. Hopefully you're following along, excited. Let's just talk about the token handling mechanisms. And this, if you've done bridging, I know in one of the other talks, it was wrapped, somebody talked about wrapped ETH and all that kind of stuff, right? So there are different token handling mechanisms. I just recorded a video. It's like a 6-minute video. It might even go out this week. If you're finding this on YouTube, I'm sure you'll find it somewhere there, where I go in and I explain each type of these pools in a fun way. I do a little D&D. So the way that we're going to do this, if I want to move things cross-chain, I can lock and mint. So I have chain over here, and I've got a bunch of Dave tokens, and I want them over here. So I'm creating the wrapped tokens. They have to be one-to-one, right? So I'm going to lock up value on one chain, and I'm going to create another token that aligns with that on a different chain. And this is where you would get wrapped ETH. But you'll see that, you know, it's like there's wrapped everything. There's wrapped Sol on Sui, you know, so it's all there. And we have Bitcoin now, wrapped Bitcoin on EVMs. It's crazy. So that is, you're going to lock it up. You're going to wrap it so that you are representing that on a different chain. Okay. Now there's burn and mint, where that's like the Phoenix I talked about, where we're going to go ahead and we're going to completely eliminate all of those tokens on one chain, and then we're going to mint them on a new chain. Burn and mint is the most common, and you're going to see all of that as we go through these examples. For example, USDC's burn and mint. So now we just had to use more acronyms, right? So now we got to say LNM instead of lock and mint, because that's how we roll. So when we want to lock and mint, go across a CCIP, LLM. So this is just graphically what that would look like, right? We're locking up value on a source chain and minting a representation of that value on a destination chain. Burn, we're getting rid of that value on one chain, and we're moving that value and unlocking it on another chain. Now, when you do all of this, you're going to hear things like native tokens. So every chain has its native token. You know, Ethereum has ETH, Ronin has RON. There are Link on every single chain. You can pay natively or you can pay in Link. For demo purposes, I like to show Link because our faucet that you saw that Sol and Richard showed you, you can go to, you can get Link for free. You do not need any tokens on mainnet in order to get Link. If you have native tokens that you've gotten somewhere else and you want to use those instead of Link, we will wrap that into Link for you when the transaction actually goes across. Almost done with the slides, folks, I promise. Then we'll have some fun. All right, B&M, burn and mint. So here we are burning on the source chain, and we're minting on the destination chain. This is where all your stable coins are. I mentioned USDC. This is the most common. This is what you'll see in a lot of our examples and a lot of our videos. You only get charged once it's moved across. It provides a reliable execution engine. And like I said, you can pay in Link or native gas. So this is whatever your token is for that chain. This is the RMN, which you saw. So think of that chart that we had, the diagram. We had each chain, and then we had some Chainlink stuff. Then we had a diagram with each chain, and we showed both the inbound and outbound chains, and we showed the RMN network, which is off-chain. This is now cracking open the RMN network, right? We're looking into our crystal ball, and we're like, what is this thing here? And so this is just showing you, it's looking for additional things that could happen. Again, we never want to transfer value cross-chain, and we lose it. It's the worst case scenario. So this is ensuring that there are correct amounts, that there's no matching, cross-chain message. There's no repeating messages. By the way, this is where all stuff, when people get hacked. I mean, I'm sure you all know about injection and trying to steal value. And I ran into that where I didn't pay enough gas and my stuff was moving slow. And there's bots out there like, what's happening here? And they just take your stuff. This is to stop all those bandits, right? We need to use the word bandit. We haven't used that in a long time. That's what the RMN is doing for you for free. All right. These, I don't need to click on any of these, but they're in the deck as a source for you to go ahead and check out. This will give you as much architecture, all the acronyms you could ever want, you'll find in here. And you can go through and to your heart's content and learn on those pieces. The token contracts for Link, which were showed earlier this week, I just threw in here so people would have it. This blog post I did, and I want to show you this one. This one will be cool because, again, how I learn things is our documentation is incredible and it's incredibly deep. And the way I like to teach and learn things is human beings, the way we learn is best of. That's why nobody goes past the first page of Google results, right? Although I know a lot of people use Perplexity, like myself now too. Just tell me the best, right? Or tell me the top 3. That's what this post is meant to be. It's not an end-all be-all. But this post, if you go to it, is going to explain everything. It's going to have links to CCT. It's going to give you the token manager. It's going to walk across what's the bare minimum. So when we create today, we need to create a contract with just this stuff. And if we want to do burn and mint, we need to use this stuff. So you should feel free. You can keep this up and you can go back to this at any time. This is my way of trying to simplify it for all of you. Different token pools. Eventually, there'll be a video right in there that I just recorded. And then the example. This is the example that I wrote. We're going to go through that in a little bit in Remix, and then the video. So if you want more Dave, I don't know why you would, you should feel free to click on here. And then what I do here is I go through actually creating a token. So it's like 45 minutes of it. We're going to streamline that and do it a lot faster, but we're going to do all of that. Okay, so that link is in there. This was the link token contracts. So one of the things we're going to do it from the example is chain ID. So you'll see chain ID right here. This is where earlier in the week, Richard showed you how you can switch networks and add it to your wallet all from this. All these links are there. You can find it in the Developer Hub. There's the blog post. Let me see if there's any other links I wanted to show you. We all saw the certification link, so that's good. And we all saw the CCIP Explorer too, which we already looked at, right? This was right here. And we went in and saw Token Manager and all that. All right, so that's it for the slides all. Everybody take a breath and take a drink of water. A funny story, I'm at Microsoft. We are launching, gosh, was it Windows 7? It was before we did all the crazy Metro design stuff. I think it's Windows 7. We're in New York. We have this huge thing. We're going to teach developers about the latest .NET and Windows 7. And he's retired now. This guy was great. Keith Garrigan, one of the best presenters I know. He's got 3 laptops with the latest build of Windows 7 so that we can do .NET up on stage. He goes to run his demo. The first laptop fails. He hits the button, goes to the second without a sweat. He was like magician. Second laptop was just a blue screen, right? And I'm in the back like, oh no. Then he takes the third laptop. He starts running it, and literally like smoke was coming out of the laptop. So he goes over like this, and he takes a bottle of water, and he's mic'd up. I think about him every time I drink water, and he goes like this. Nothing's happening. You're fine, Keith. Like into the mic, like to just like relax and everything. And the entire audience, we just all laughed. And like developers are great like that. They're like, dude, we hear you. And people are like, just reboot it. It's okay. You know, you're whatever. And he centered himself and he did it. So shout out to Keith. Every time I have a bottle of water, I think about you, dude. All right. So I'm going to show you, this is what we're going to do. I'll just show you these slides actually real quick as a preview. And then we'll spend the rest of the time doing some demos, and then we can spend some time talking, like if you all have questions and stuff. So you're going to be like, Dave, what the heck is Foundry? Nobody's talked about this stuff. I know. It's just another acronym, okay? So when you do stuff locally, you've all learned up to this point how to do it through a web-based IDE called Remix that works with Solidity. I'm going to show you that too. Don't worry about any of this right now. I just want you to see it. And I was seeing comments the other day where people are like, hey, I want to see VS Code. I wanted to see a VS Code too when I was coming from Amazon. I was like, I use VS Code. I use Copilot, Amazon Q. This is where I live. Show it to me, dude. So I'm going to show it to you. All right. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. I want you to just be like, okay, cool. Dave showed me what it is. I get it. Foundry is a tool for local development. So we can create and we can test locally. I have another teammate, one of the smartest blockchain wizards I've ever met, this guy, Andre, who's written a literally Chainlink local. It's the entire Chainlink service is local too. And you can find that on our dev portal. So this is the next step up. I did Remix. That's how I learned too, by the way. So cut yourself a break, figure stuff out in Remix. Our docs will link to it. Then when you're ready to start going and doing local, you can do this. So I'm going to show you this. There's a video of me doing this. In fact, there's a video of me doing this, a video of me doing Remix, and a video of me doing Hard Hat, which is also a very popular one as well. I like to do the Foundry one because it's easier to teach. Right? There's always a method to my madness. So we're going to show that. And then my clicker is going to give me a heart attack because it's not going forward. Okay, there we go. Then we're going to go through, and all of this stuff that I'm showing you is at this URL. So some of you, I know how you think, because I was like this too, or at least one person. If there's one person, it'd be great. One of you is like, man, that's cool. Like, look, here's VS Code with Solidity. We're going to look at that in a second. One of you is like, I want that. One of you wants my bash shell too, I could tell. You're going to go here in this link I gave you, and look at this. CCIP, burn and mint, Dave said that. I know what burn and mint is. Foundry, Dave said that. He said that EOA thing. Step by step, I'm telling you, our doc stuff's great. You just copy paste, right? So it's going to show you how to set up a node. It's going to show you how to clone from our GitHub. It's going to show you how to do our environment files, set up all your RPCs, install your node packages, edit a configuration file, what I'm going to show you, and then go step by step through each thing. All right. So for this part, I want everybody to just watch me do that, and I'll drop in and out and show you the different steps. You don't have to worry about having it all run on your machine, okay? And then you can go back to that at any time to get all of the information and do it yourself. So that's why I put these links in here, okay? That'll give you options for everything. Remix, Foundry, Hard Hat, whatever you need, okay? Here's this dork again. That's the YouTube video. Oh, look, you can see my Commodore Amigas back there. So that's the retro computers all I was telling you about. And I don't use the stand. I podcasted for years. You'll find it on my link tree. I had the cool podcaster thing. And now look at this. I'm a YouTube influencer. You can teach me new things. See? So I have this mic now because I have a tendency to move around anyway. So I put that video in. That'll take you through the entire Foundry thing I'm showing. All right, because we won't have time to go through that whole thing. Then what I thought would be cool, again, trying to simplify as much for all of you, is I went into OpenZeppelin and created an ERC20 like Sol and Richard showed you. I made it real simple. I pasted into Remix, and then we get to import it into Token Manager and then add additional blockchain support. And then I'm telling you, you can all easily follow along with this, and you just copy paste from the slides here. You're going to see it look like this, and we're going to build this. And then we're all going to feel like $1 million today, right? And who doesn't love spreading positive vibes when you feel like $1 million? Make sense? Oh, this mic I got from Val. Val's the one that told me about it. Val, what the heck is this mic? I should know. I think it's not Elgato, but yeah, I love it too. And it's like a cool circle, the light and everything they actually give you too. If you hit me online, if Val doesn't know, Hollyland, that's it. Yeah. And there's the link to the slides. Okay. All right, folks, let's go have some fun in VS Code. All right, so here's VS Code. Only thing I have done is I have taken the steps ahead of time. And yes, I am a fan of dark mode. I know that was a thing that came up. Richard and I always tease each other about the different modes. I dark mode all the things. But black, as if you can't tell, is my favorite color. So anyway, when you download our SDK, here's the README file, all right? Everything you need set up. This is basically the docs. If you're one of those people, and those are the super cool people, I try to be like that, where I don't need to go into a web browser. I'm in VS Code all day. I just get stuff from terminal and bam, everything's here. That's what this is, okay? So you have the ability to get here. Now, when we do this transaction, so we're going to do it in Foundry here. Don't feel overwhelmed. My main goal here is to really enforce the steps that you're going to see in Token Manager. So as you go through here, everybody notice something? There's all these scripts, Foundry scripts, and they call this the Solidity files. There's all this stuff here, but they're all named to the phases. And this is what I meant by it's a lot easier to learn from and teach. So those phases I'm talking about are over here. So when we look, you're going to see we're going to set up, and look at that. We already did set up. Then we're going to have a source chain. And on our source chain, we're going to create a token. And this, again, everything happens for a reason. So this is going to happen in a couple steps so that it's nice and secure, and it all happens the way it's supposed to happen. Because smarter people than I know that it takes 2 steps to grant an admin role and claim an admin role, because it could be intercepted by those bandits again, right? World of Warcraft reference, bandits in Westfall, right? Red bandanas. I know you probably know the name in your head too. Somebody's watching this for a while. All right. Token's going to get deployed. We're going to set an admin role. Then we need to accept the admin role. We're going to accept the admin role in our wallet. Then we're going to create a pool, and then we're going to register a pool. And because we have different chains, remember that nice little router picture? We're going to do that where we're going and we're setting all the same things up on the destination chain. Then we're going to have a source configuration. where we're going to grant the privileges to burn those tokens that I just set up with that token pool and then mint those tokens. All right, so we're going to configure the pool, verify the configuration, do all that, and then we're going to do the same for the destination chain. Once we do that, we have phenomenal cosmic powers where we can send stuff cross-chain. All right, that's how everything happens. That's how this nice Foundry example happens, and that is what everything that you see here in these files. So for example, when I want to go ahead and deploy my token, I'm going to call this Foundry script. So forge is the command to run a Foundry script. I'm going to call deploy token, and it's going to use an RPC. Now, you may be like, Dave, what's an RPC? Right? So this is a remote procedure call. We talk through the RPC to connect to a blockchain. And you're going to see all of those steps in our documentation of how to set it up. I can't show you that in my ENV file because it has my private key. And what do we never do with our private key, folks? As Richard hammered home. First of all, we never put it on GitHub, and then we never share it, okay? So that's why I'm not going to show you my ENV file. As a matter of fact, let me load in my ENV file. Okay, so I'm just going to show you what's in my configuration file, all right? So today, we're going to do a burn and mint token. And if you've seen JSON before, same stuff here, nothing scary. I'm going to give the name of the token. I'm going to give it a symbol. So we're going to say the April Bootcamp. We're going to use 18 decimal places. I'm going to do max supply. If you put a 0, it's basically infinite supply. We are not going to use CCIP admin. And when you do a 000, that's admin address of local, okay? Now, this is the stuff, Richard actually did this cool yesterday in Remix, where you saw him minting, and he went over those 18, not yesterday, I didn't know what days, right? 2 days ago. The amount to mint, and remember we had all the questions around the 18 decimal places, right? That's all that stuff that's happening. I'm gonna pay this natively, because I thought it would be cool to pay it in RON, and then I'm gonna have these remote chains. Now, remote chains, think of that diagram, where it's got to connect. One router's got to connect to the other router. And so this number here, this took me a while too to figure out, by the way. So that number there is the number that you saw up on CCIP when you were looking at the different chains. So that's the number there that connects. This, I just know it by heart, happens to be Avalanche. This 421614 is Arbitrum. So what I'm saying is Avalanche source, Arbitrum destination, Arbitrum source, Avalanche destination, right? All right, let me take a quick drink. Good, I see. Do not share the key. Yes. You can be one of the cool kids, and you'll make Patrick happy if you encrypt your ENV file. Don't even make an ENV file. Use encrypted stuff. I've done that before just so I could feel powerful. But for these examples, I just have a little ENV file. All right. I don't want you to worry about anything else right now. I am just going to do little steps here. Okay, and I'm going to show you what it is. Again, this is all coming from what you see on our documentation. You can download all this. You can follow the steps to set up local, and then you can go and do it in this way. Now, I have just done this for demo purposes and commented so everybody can see. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to first deploy my token. And what's that token? It's the April Boot token. So I'm going to deploy it out on Fuji Avalanche, which is the test network for Fuji, and you can see there. And then I'm going to deploy it out on Arbitrum. Now, I know how all you think. So right now, a couple of you are like, where is this happening? And why isn't my wallet popping up, right? Because that's what I thought the first time I ran everything local, all right? So because it has my private key, it doesn't need my permission. So it is not asking me to confirm anything in my wallet. It's using that private key. It's going up. It's taking the Foundry script. It's running it. And they're very, as you can see, they're very verbose and they echo back a lot of what's going on. It's taking money out of my wallet and it's deploying it on that chain. And it's using the contracts you can see right here. And you can look right in the project when you download it from Git. We do a ERC 677. Again, don't get confused by it. Think of it as just a more advanced ERC20. And we're burning and minting. That's the call that you do here. and it created this contract here. So I'll just show one. Let's see where we went. Granted, admitted, burn roles. All right, so we granted, admitted, burn roles to this is my wallet. And I'll show you here just so we can all see. Here's that wallet, right? And everything is in here. We want to switch to Arbitrum. Avalanche Fuji. There we go. Okay, so I just burned and minted there. Now I am going to go look it up on chain. So you see how it says deployed? So we're going to come over here. And I think we covered this earlier. If we didn't, every blockchain has the ability to view information about the blockchain in a web browser. So what I'm doing here is I am pulling up the testnet blockchain explorer for Fuji. Okay. Now we're going to enter what we just created. And everybody can see right here, it's finding it. Now, if you do this later, don't worry, finality, right? Sometimes it takes time. It's on chain, but sometimes it'll take a couple tries for it to show up in here. I've had, and this is what's always fun when you're doing live demos. Just in case that happened, okay, cool. I was talking about the encrypted file. Just in case that happened, I wanted to be able to show you the actual code up here, okay? So this is the same one. Right before this, I made another April boot, so we wouldn't have to wait for everything to show up on the Blockchain Explorer. Here you can see the contract here and all those different steps, right? So it has the ability to burn and mint. Everything from that SDK, you can see is now deployed up on chain, all right? That's basically how it's gonna work in VS Code. What I'm gonna do now is, this is a cool thing you could do with both Hard Hat and do this, Foundry, is you can run all your scripts at one time. So what I am going to do is, and I'll explain this. All right, we deployed our tokens. Let me make this full screen for you all here. Okay. All right, so we did the tokens. Remember these steps. Now we need to deploy the pools. So same thing, using my private key. You can see here I'm doing Fuji and Sequoia. I'm going to deploy the token pools. Then we're going to claim the admin role with our wallet. Then we're going to accept the admin role. Remember, it happens in 2 stages. Then we're going to set that token pool for each token. And then we're going to set the routers. Everybody sees this? Remember the routers with the lanes, all right? So we're going to do all of that. And this will just take a little bit to run. And this is completing these steps right up here. All right, so we're doing it all through Foundry scripts. You'll have access to this afterwards. You can download it and plug it away in VS Code to your heart's content. What's cool and what I want to show you is minting and sending it cross-chain so that you get exposure to that CCIP Explorer. And then we'll put this into Remix and have some fun together where we build our own. So let's let this cook. As long as you're getting green checkboxes too. If you're watching this later, because this is what I would do. I always like having the YouTube video, the person in the one, and my code window in the other. So if you're Mr. YouTube right now, shout out to you. Thanks for watching. As long as you're getting those green check boxes for your success, you're good for each of these steps. And everybody sees the chain IDs here that we're using. Completed. And by the way, everything goes to a log too. That's what I love about these scripts too. It'll put all of the different things that happened into a nice little log file for you too, that you can go to your heart's content and scroll through later. Looks like we're on the destination chain now. All right, we have nothing but checkboxes, nothing but net. So now, think about what just happened. We created tokens on each chain. pools on each chain for those tokens. We created and accepted admin roles on each of those chains, and then we gave permissions to those pools to burn and mint those tokens. And then we set up the different cross-chain lanes and everything so that we can go ahead and send value. Okay, great. Question, what is the pool? What does it do? See, that's something I should have remembered the first time I saw that too. Is like, what's a pool? Yes, I'm sorry I didn't even explain it. There's so many terms. So a pool, think of a pool as a smart contract that can do a bunch of things with that token. And so you'll hear pool a lot. You'll hear things like liquidity pools, right? And stuff like that. So think of it like I think of it like a factory. So the token's what I want to create, and the pool is the factory that'll spit out all those tokens for me. So sorry, I didn't see that question before. And then, does the CCT have permissions or like a pool of tokens to mint on the other? Yes, that's what we were giving. We were giving permissions here for giving burn and mint on the other sets. Okay, great questions. So now I'm going to mint the tokens. Who doesn't like minting stuff, right? So this, like I just talked about, it's going to mint from the pool. So the pool, everybody see right here, the pool is going to mint 1,000 of these tokens, and it's going to send it to my wallet. And you can see back, it minted successfully. So I minted that on Avalanche Fuji, right? Yeah, let's get minty, like let's get froggy. Patrick has a catchphrase. I don't have a cool catchphrase. I have to come up with something cool. Maybe you all can come up with something cool for me. I want it like a wizard. I'm a wizard, Harry. Okay, so now we're going to do the final step. And this is the exciting piece when you do this, folks, is sending stuff cross-chain. So we're using the Foundry scripts. We've got all our pools set up. We minted on one chain, happens to be Avalanche Fuji. And now we're going to transfer the tokens to Arbitrum. And this is where all of that stuff in the diagrams, all of that stuff you had to stare through is going to happen. So we're going to copy this. We got green check boxes, which means it's been handed off to CCIP. And you remember the diagram? We had the risk management network, and we had the different contracts, and all of that's handling it. And so you're like, well, I want to know what's going on, Dave. Where can I see that? And don't worry, you can see everything up in the Explorer I showed you. And this, because it's a blockchain, this is where the stuff will start hitting in your head, right? All the little things we talked about. Because it's a blockchain, we can all look at it. And we can look at this 10 years from now and be like, I remember that day. I remember that day when I sent value cross-chain on a test net, and see this. So here it is. And let me walk you through a little bit here. We talked about messages. So here's a message. We've got our transaction hashes, and this is what you saw echoed back in the script. We got the status. Now remember the status I talked about in those slides, and it maybe didn't make sense at the time. Dave's talking about blessing and cursing and sources being finalized, all of that. Here's where that is now occurring. And you can see expected time. It's committed. You know, we got to know each other. It's a little bit more committed to our relationship now here. And then when committed, it's going to go to bless to curse, and then hopefully success. You can see the origin. So it moved from my wallet, those tokens that we minted, and it moved it to my wallet on another chain. And remember I said, if you use native tokens, it's going to wrap. So here it used wrapped AVAX. It converted it to link. And you get a gas. I didn't set any gas limits. And sequence number is just part of the transaction. And look at that. In 1 minute, we have a success. We moved those tokens from Fuji to Sequoia in the wallet, right? And we can actually go here. Now, remember, everything exists on chain. If I go here, I can see the message ID, and I can see the wallet. And in fact, I can go here on Arbiscan. Again, just another blockchain explorer. And you'll see that that stuff was transacted across. Makes sense? Look at that, folks. We did local dev environment. We've got all the URLs so that we can learn this. And I would love to hear from you, by the way. Like, if it's like 3 months from now, you got stuff going on in your life, and you're like, I remember when Dave showed it to me that day. I want you to feel good about yourself. If you get VS Code up and running, you get these scripts running, and you're sending stuff cross-chain, you're well on your way. That's when I started to feel super confident. Confident enough to build my own little cool thing for you all in Remix so we can do this together. All right, where are we at on time? Good, we're crushing the time. So on the screen here, I want everybody to go to the slides. All right, we want to go here. And let me see if I can paste this in the chat too. Okay. Now, if you're like me, sometimes when I'm watching a presenter, I'm like, I'm just chilling, dude. I just got coffee. I'm going to watch you. Feel free to do that too. Or pause me and go back later, whatever you like. But if you feel like you're at the point, you're like, you know what? Richard and Sol really showed me that Remix stuff, even though my eyes hurt from Richard's light theme. I think I'm ready to go ahead and paste some stuff in. So that's what we're going to do right now. All right. So you come up here. I'm just going to copy this. And then we're going to open up Remix. Now, if you don't remember the Remix URL, it's just remix.ethereum.org. And it'll holler at you to make sure you're using the right URL too. All right. You can create a new bootcamp. Doesn't matter. I've just got a normal one I've been using for the bootcamps of things here. But what we want to do is we want to go ahead and create a new file. Let's see. Question, we need testnet to do this for at least 2 chains. What if no funds on the mainnet? You can use Link. I used native. You can get from our faucet. And let me just reiterate this for everybody too. The faucet address, I know it was shown earlier, but just in case you're like, Dave, I'm on the 3rd video, dude. I don't know what happened at day 1 or 2. If you go to faucets.chain.link, you have the ability to grab Link. You only need tokens on mainnet for native tokens, like if I wanted to grab AVEX or something, okay, AVEX. Link you can do for free, and you can pay in Link when we do this, and you'll be all set. Okay, cool. Javier's posting that one in. You can also directly, and I know Richard showed this one for sure, you can also go directly to the Ronin faucet. All right, so if you haven't done this yet, and just because it was showed in the one, see, all questions get asked for a reason. I'm going to copy this in, and maybe there's somebody came across and is like, I didn't see that part. So here I'm posting in my Ronin wallet. We're going to get 1 RON, send a request, mess around with a little Axie Infinity character, and now I got RON. Cool? And that's the one we're going to do. We're going to do Ronin now with RON. All right, and then Remix, remix.ethereum.org. Because all this time we've been opening in a lot of the examples Remix, right? Through like the docs and stuff. All right, so there's Remix. Yeah, you might get rate limits, by the way, on the token pools. You know, it's weird. Even though it's fake monopoly money, it still requires electricity, y'all. So that's why there's like limits and stuff like that. It's still costing people to make these tokens. It's all still blockchain. All right, let's go ahead and create a new Solidity contract. You can call this whatever you want. Like I could even call it Dave April Bootcamp. Okay. And let me make sure this is nice and big for everybody. I'm going to paste in the code. Oops. Let me go back to how many windows can Dave open? Jeez. All right. You're going to get this warning that says never use code from Dave. I give you permission. You can say close. That's all right. I trust that guy. All right. Let me move this over a little bit. Now, because we've been doing this, actually, it might be, let me show you this. Everybody see? Okay. Because we've been doing this now for 2 days, if you're just coming in on the 3rd day, the only thing different that we got to do, and this will be good, you know, a reminder for all of you too, is I've got the auto compile on, like Richard showed you, which is why I've got a nice big S with a green checkbox, because Solidity is compiling my code and everything's cool. And I've got my 8.2.4 version here, just like I've got my Pragma compiler version here. All right. When we deploy and run this, we don't want to do it in the local wallet. I want to do it in the injected provider MetaMask. Okay. And that is what we're going to use up here. And you can see my address right here. which is 0xFB. You can see 0xFB here. You can see my different balances. All right, and that's what we're going to do here. But let's step through the code here. Okay, make that bigger for everyone. All right, what I did here is I went and I did the exact same thing that Sol and Richard did, where I went and I hit Open Zeppelin. So the Open Zeppelin wizard, I said I want an ERC20 burnable and mintable, but I want access control. Everybody see that right here? So on our contract, and don't worry if this is still looking a little scary, that's all this is saying. This is a smart contract. I'm calling my token. This has to be able to burn, mint, ERC20, and it has access control. Why do we need access control, Dave? We need access control so CCIP can set and accept those admin roles that you saw previously. What I did here is when you go on Open Zeppelin, you're going to see it'll use the Open Zeppelin library as part of our CCIP contracts library. Everybody see this here? And this will be in the docs where you can grab that Git. We put Open Zeppelin libraries in there. So just as a good practice, that's why you're seeing that mine may look a little bit different if you hopped over to Open Zeppelin. Like when you follow my blog post, I go over to Open Zeppelin and do it. But I'm just changing it here, okay? And that's just all part of how we're able to do this. All right. So now I'm going to walk through the constructor. So you'll see it's an ERC20 token, my token, MTK. I'm going to grant roles. And you remember, Richard talked about this, your sender, you're getting a message. So I'm going to grant the admin, minter, and burner role to who's ever calling me. All right. And anybody can call this if they want to pay the gas. And then I'm going to set a local value for CCIP admin. And I have one event set, so I know when that happens. Okay. Minter role and burner role are constants with this hash. That is what CCIP uses. So it knows based on that hash what a minter role is and what a burner role is. You can see here, grant, mint, and burn roles. That is something that Open Zeppelin will not add. That is something Dave added, because when we go through this token manager, and you'll see this as we go along, we have to manually do one step. And it'll guide you. I'll show you where we copy and paste it. What I did here was create a nice little function for us, so we can just copy what's in the UI and paste it in here, and we'll get a nice mint and burn role, okay? Now we have our mint function and our burn function. You can see here, I'm going to take an account address, the amount that I want to mint. I have a minter role, and I'm going to go ahead and mint to that account. Same thing with burn. Burn from, we're not going to use in this example, but you do need to include it if you want to be able to use a burn and mint pool. And this, again, is in the docs as well as my blog post. It'll show you each one to implement, or you could just use my gist. I implemented all the bare minimum. Then we're going to have our getters and setters where we're going to set the CCIP admin. But that is it, folks. Like, you saw how complicated this was, right? And we've got all of this. My goal here was to do the bare minimum, which I like doing bare minimum. On things I love, I go all out. But bare minimum here so we can learn. Don't make this overly complex. You can see it's just a couple lines. This is actually creating a CCT. And we've implemented everything we need so that we can take it up to the GUI and we can do more there inside of the tooling itself. Make sense? Okay. Now, hopefully everybody that wanted to follow along did a copy paste, right? So we copied from the gist, we pasted it in here. Make sure you're getting a green Solidity compiler here. We're version 8.2.4. Make sure your injected provider is MetaMask, and make sure you've got some Ronin, okay? As you can see, I've got Ronin. So what we're going to do here is we're going to hit orange. Now, if you remember what Richard pointed out in Remix, anything with orange is what? It's going to cost you, right? We're going to pay gas. So this, we're going to pay a little bit of gas, and that's why we had to go get that Ronin. It's going to vary because test nets, right? Everybody's using it, and it's that finality. it's got to hit finality and consensus in order for our smart contract to appear on the blockchain on all the different nodes. So we're going to say deploy. And it's asking me, now that is nice. Look at that, only 0.05. So anybody that's doing this, if you grabbed 1 RON, you're good. And it's usually, the cheap's pretty affordable on Ronin. So I'm gonna hit confirm here. And you can see down here, it's pending. And let me get rid of this old one. All right, now you can see it's been deployed here. Let me expand it. Little tip, Richard taught me this tip when I was first starting out. Make sure you hit this pin contract if you're working with anything. You leave your browser, you know, you go up to make coffee, you come back and the thing is gone. You'll be scratching your head wondering, what are you doing with your life, right? So go ahead and pin that right now. And then you can see this address is the address of our token. Now, here's all of the functions that you just saw in code, right? So I'm minting, granting my different roles. You can see name, minter roles, symbols. This is live, so I can actually call the blockchain and get one of these parameters. Like if I want the symbol, you can see I called that, and look at that. It's MTK for my token that I have that, okay? And same thing with name and role and all of that. Now, what we're gonna do is we're gonna come up here and we're gonna click copy address, all right? So this is where our token now lives on the Ronin blockchain. So we're gonna go ahead and click that. And then we're going to go back, if you've been following along and you have the CCIP Explorer uploaded or open, what we want is test. Actually, let me paste this in too for you all, make it easier. There you go. All right, and let me come back here and let me copy this. All right, everybody feeling excited? We're gonna do some cool stuff, y'all. All right, so now we get into the cool GUI part. All right, so you can see this is my wallet. So if you aren't connected here, all right, connect your wallet and then select the blockchain. So in this case, remember we did it on Ronin, and this is everything CCIP supports, all right? So we're gonna go here to Ronin. Now we're on Ronin, you can see our wallet address here, and we're gonna click this button. Add a new token. Now, after this, if you want to play around and you're like, that was fun, I want to make lots of tokens, Dave, have at it. You can deploy a new token using the UI, because now you know the basics. Now you know the steps. You'll understand everything that's going on. What we want to do is we want to add an existing token, because we are cool enough. We made our own token already in Remix, right? So we got some excitement here. We're like, all right, add an existing token. So now what we want to do is we want to tell it where that token is. So we deploy that token on Ronin. And then this address, you want to paste in the address that was right here that we just deployed with our RON. So we're going to paste that in. And it is going to read live from the blockchain. And you can see it pulled up my token. And we did it right. We've got a nice register admin function. So it detected all of that. This is where you might scratch your head if you didn't write that code right, if you decided to do it code instead of the UI. I ran into this before when I only implemented owner. Anything you have here, again, follow the checkbox rule. If I got the green checkboxes, I am doing good. It's under the fold because my browser's so big. So if you don't see it, make sure you scroll down and say, these are all tokens I want to enable. Because you could do a bunch. All right, we're going to say continue here at the bottom. And then you're like, okay, I get this. Look at that. There's my little token I made in Remix. There's the address. I get the cool Ronin network symbol. And now I get this burn and mint and burn and, oh, I remember what Dave was saying. That's like the Phoenix. And that's like locking in a wizard tower, right? So we're just going to do the recommended. So we're going to do burn and mint. So we're going to burn any existing tokens on one chain and move them to another chain. I'm going to hit continue. In this example, I am going to say base I want to add. Now, I should point out for any of these, you will need a little bit of tokens. So if you don't have base tokens, let me make sure I have base in here. Oops, where is my base? Base testnet. Yes, I do have some base. It's all about that base. All right. So if you have another network, just pick one that you have it on. I'm just going to do base as an example. You could do Arbitrum. We're going to hit continue. Now confirm the owners. I'm confirming that I am the owner. Now remember, this was set in code. Whoever called the contract became the owner. So we're going to hit that. I'm going to confirm my token name. And then now you see everything set up here. So it's like a nice little checklist, right? This is what I love about our UX team. And now if you open the view more, this is the stuff. You're like, oh, I remember Dave talking about that. I deploy the pool. I grant burn and mint permissions. I register the admin. I accept the admin in a nice two-phase secure way. I set the token pool, then I accept the pool ownership. That's the source chain. And then we're going to add to Ronin the destination chain. So we're going to add that base Sepoya, right? So let's go and do this. Now it's exciting because now we're like, look at this. I've got 2 chains up here. I got some nice pictures. So I'm going to go ahead and do this. Now you noticed it realized I was on base. So I need to switch to Ronin. And it automatically switched me here. You won't get the prompt popping up or anything. So I'm going to go ahead and deploy. All right, so that's going to be 0.09 RON. So what this is doing is it's taking that existing token that we created, and it's going to create a CCT version of it on Ronin for us that now can move cross-chain. So our same exact token, but we're going to do all this other cool stuff now. So I'll say confirm. Nice little green checkbox, right? You get green, that's the rule. You get green checkboxes, it's happy times. Man, the gas is so great today. So only 0.02. So now we're going to register that new CCT token. And you got to, depending on your screen size, you got to be able to move the bar there. Now we're going to accept the admin role. So we're going to say confirm. So I'm accepting the admin role in my wallet. So you should all be able to follow along with that in your wallet, or feel free to just watch Dave's screen. It's all good. Now we're going to grant the roles. So if you were doing this, we're going to try and make this experience better. When first time you do this, you may hit this and be like, what's going on? I don't like pop-ups, right? Pop-ups scare me too. This is why I wrote that function. So the grant and mint privileges you can't do through the UI. What we want to do is that new CCT token that we just created on Ronin, we want to grant the ability for the token pool we created to go ahead and deploy it, right? So what we're going to do is we do have a nice little copy button here. We're going to copy it. Then you're going to go back over to Remix, and you're going to find the function we created, okay? Which is right here. Grant, mint, and burn roles, okay? That's this little function I have right here. So grant, burn, mint, and burn roles. I'm going to paste that in, which is the pool that it gave us. And then orange box, right? So we're going to pay a little gas. I'm going to go ahead and transact. And you can see here 0.0017. We're going to say confirm. Now we're going to wait for finality on the blockchain here. So we're going to wait. And green checkbox. So we are good. So then we're going to come back over. And now I say I have made the required changes, right? So the tool is trusting you. I was a Boy Scout. I was almost an Eagle Scout. I ran out of time. I did get my arrow light, but always be trustworthy, right? And obey the law of the pack. Any Boy Scouts out there? So we're going to go ahead and continue. And it says, you know what? I trust Dave. I'm going to say that he did that. So it gives me a green checkbox. Okay. So let's go ahead and register the pool. Again, only 0.0012 RON. It's registered, and now we got to accept ownership. So we say confirm. All right, and done. I like to have little green boxes, done checklists. All right, so now if you think about that diagram, everything exists on the source chain. We've got the token, it's CCT compatible, it's got a pool that's able to burn and mint. We're all good to go. All right, so now we're going to switch. You'll notice it moved me over to base. You will move whatever testnet blockchain you want to go on. So it's going to be small little network fee. Base is usually pretty good with gas too. So I'll do that. Now we're going to accept the admin role. And this is much easier, right? Because we've already got the CCT accepted. We're just setting up lanes to be able to move across to that blockchain, right? And then we're going to accept pool ownership. So done and done. And look at that checklist. Look at all the stuff you all did, right? Step 7. All right, congratulations. You can now move cross-chain. You've got a CCT token sitting on Ronin that can move to base or whichever one that you did. So if I come over here, you'll see everything that we set up, right? Now, you'll notice I didn't do the accept admin role on that other screen on base. You can do it here if you like. It recognizes that I'm the owner. But you can see here on Ronin. Do you all like this, like flying in from the side? I like it. Our team, we're going to be doing more and more of it so that you don't lose where you are. You know, it's kind of like a Visual Studio pop out. You know, you can still see everything. And remember, I do everything for a reason. So in the beginning, I showed you this tool, and we went down into inbound and outbound lanes. And now you're like, oh, I get all this. Well, look at this. We've got inbound and outbound lanes for base because we've now connected that through the tool. And I can click around here. I can see the token addresses, admin, the pool. You remember we did 18 decimal places. We did burn and mint. And here's all of our symbols, right? We have, we can go in here. I can edit rates and stuff. That's all stuff you would normally have to call the smart contract for. You can do it in the UI because you are the admin. This account here is the admin for that. But you can see that, and we can go in here. We can add other chains. We've got a full CCT token sitting on Ronin that has access to other chains. So congrats all. You did it. That was a whirlwind. I know that was a lot. This stuff, it's complex, but once you get your head around it, this to me, talking about those careers, right? This is where you're going to have an enterprise career of moving value across blockchains of some of the top companies in the world, between consumer Web3 stuff, between traditional finance, and all over. Awesome. We got lots of happy faces with that. Just threw some additional links in here if you want to check out additional services that we didn't cover here. The cool part is we cover all of that if you go up onto the Dev Chainlink certification. There's free courses, and this is stuff that Sol wrote and Richard wrote and I wrote, and we all put in to kind of reiterate, gives you test questions, and then you can go in and you can get certified. But I super appreciate all of you. This stuff's fun for me. I'm just happy I get to play with this every day. Let me put up my info for any that want to reach out. Do let me know when you build stuff. Let me know when you get your certification. This is what makes our day, our team, just knowing that somebody's enjoying this and learning from this. And with that, I'll bring Richard. I guess I'll bring you back up on stage. Let me add him. Boom. And we can help answer any questions. And I'll bring Javier back up too, just in case if he wants. Thank you all. All right, let me go through. So,
sorry, there was some questions about
yeah, I haven't been
for base Sepolia. I thought I clicked the right button, y'all. It's going to take about 6 minutes, and then we'll have funds for you if you want to hang out. I'm sorry. Listen, it was like, it's been 6 minutes. Where's the stuff? I missed clicking one button. I clicked one button, but there was a second button I didn't click.
Yeah.
So it'll be a minute. We'll get you a special faucet here just for this workshop.
Yeah. Javier, can you post the link to the slides again too for folks, just so they have it at the end?
Yes.
Sure. Question, what if my token isn't set up for CCIP? So what we just did was that we created a cross-chain token, which is a token standard for being CCIP compatible. So you would just follow the process that we did here for existing tokens. So when you saw that screen that said import existing token, you would point it to your existing token. And as long as it's supported chain, you'll be able to create a CCT version from that. One caveat is you have to meet the requirements. It'll tell you what you're missing. I find most ERC20s have owner. You can do it with owner, like USDC had owner. But if not, you'll have to add that or add the admin. All right. Awesome. Okay, another question is cross-chain token ERC 677. So 677 is what we use for our burn and mint. So yes, it does follow that standard. In this example, I used 20. I don't know if 667 is a different one entirely, but it uses the 677. So if I were to show you this, I click over here. You can see right here. This is the standard that it's actually using for the CCT. And this is all in our SDK. So if you want to get into the weeds here, and if you've done CCIP stuff before, you might recognize like IVR router and everything in here. Yep. And let me find, I'll show you the requirements all too. If we come up here. So it must be a ERC20 compatible token. So this is that blog post again. You can think of this like a shorthand. It'll tell you all your requirements you need.
Yeah, so basically to that question, it needs to have one of those, either an owner or a Git CCIP admin.
Yep.
And if it's something you've deployed before you knew about CCTs, it probably doesn't have Git CCIP admin, but it very likely might have owner.
Anybody gonna be thinking about going through the chain? Oh, here it is right here too, by the way. The burn and mint ERC 67 standard. This is what I was talking about. Anybody thinking about going through the certifications? I did not, since we got a little time, I'll show you that. All of the stuff will be in our Chainlink fundamentals. And then we also have blockchain fundamentals. And this is what your cert will look like that you'll get over on LinkedIn. This is all free too, by the way. And you'll be able to, while you're using the tool, this is what it looks like. And you'll be able to, here's a cool little certifications, right? So you just hop over to dev.chainlink certification. And that's a good iteration. Like when you start going through this stuff, if I hit start learning, you'll see the topics, right? So CCIP tokens. Look at this. This is the stuff Dave was talking about, right? Concepts, senders, receivers, lanes, all that kind of goodness. You'll see right in here. Well, that's a good question. I don't think they're NFTs. I don't think the certifications are NFTs, right, Richard? I think they come from the platform. Yeah. It's not an actual NFT itself, but it is a thing that'll show up like on LinkedIn. All right. Let me
If y'all are hanging out for the funds, we're at 4 minutes of 6 minutes. Cue
Stop.
Jeopardy waiting music. Do, do, do.
There we go. So now I can look forward. See how bright my screen is? This is like a gaming monitor, y'all. It's like boom. It's like I get a suntan. Yeah, that's cool. I love the fact there's still people hanging out. I should give you all a tour.
It's not us, Dave. It's the faucet. Let's be honest. No.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. I thought we would have this done.
Another question. Great presentation. Would this process work the same for tokenizing a real-world asset? So with real-world assets, there's a whole other thing in there, and different we even have proof of reserves and things like that. But yes, you would represent, and Richard went into this a little bit, like you would represent, depending on what type it is that you want to represent on chain, like an ERC20 could be a concert ticket, for example. And this is in the certification too, by the way. So, like I'm going to have many, many different tickets for the same event. Or it could be an ERC 721 for a piece of real estate. For example, the place that you live is unique, and there's only one of those. That would be a 721. But you are going to hear things in RWA of tokenization where you can split the thing down as well. So I might have, let's think of a piece of commercial real estate. So it's a building in a major city, right? And I want to own a piece of that rental, right? So it's fractional ownership. Something like that might become an ERC 20 that's pointing back to that actual piece of real estate. So it depends on the situation of how you want to represent that on chain.
Hey Dave, will you go to the workshop faucet?
Do you want to share the screen?
Sure.
Or you need
share screen. That's fine.
Yeah.
Give me 1 second.
I just don't want to look at the side monitor.
I was not prepared to share screens. Give me like 2 seconds.
Oh, okay. I can then.
No. It's all good. Share screen.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I am.
Okay, y'all. Yesterday, there were some people in the chat.
Yesterday.
Who
Seems so
I was disappointed in. Today, I'm trusting you to be amazing people, because I know you are amazing people.
Day 3,
this
best
is our
3.
workshop faucet. It will let you get some base Sepolia ETH. I know this says Ethereum Sepolia. Just kind of ignore that if it says that. Once you select base Sepolia here, you'll see our faucet has 170 ETH in it. There's 153 of you. I taught 5th grade math and science. I can math up and say that 170 minus 153 is less than 170. We're going to have some left over. So what you're going to do, you're going to change this to base Sepolia. You're going to come in here and you're going to just click this ETH button. Now, we can all have 1 ETH if we want to. 0.5 is plenty to do everything that we need to do, so you can leave it alone if you want to be a good Samaritan. If you're like, hey, I'm going to do a lot of stuff, go ahead and bump this up to just 1. Just 1. Only 1. Everybody gets how many? 1. Okay, so we're going to bump this up to 1. You're going to take your wallet address and put it in here. So you go to MetaMask, you click on copy your wallet address, and you'll paste it in right here. I am like looking at my screen share and not my actual screen. It's throwing me off. You're gonna copy your wallet address. You're gonna paste it in here, and you'll click send request. How many times are you gonna do this, Dave?
Each one, just
one time. You're gonna do it 1 time. That's right, 1 time. Is the number 2, Dave? No, it's 1 time. Okay, and we're gonna get how many? 1. Right. Okay. Cool. Everybody got it. 1. I'm trusting y'all.
Uno.
Me having faith in you.
1.
So yes, you need a password. I am going to show you the password here in just 1 second. I'm not going to put it in the chat, so you're going to have to type it in. So give me 1 second here. Make sure I share the right stuff. And I actually put the password in the slideshow too, right below Dave's amazing photo here. So, if you saw Dave here,
yeah,
you go down 1. This is the password, right? So we've got the faucet link in the chat. And we've got this password right here. So we'll type it in. It is case sensitive. There are no spaces. Once you've done that, you'll need to change it to base Sepolia. You should see this balance. You're going to paste in your address here. You're going to pick ETH, and you're only going to pick 1. Do not click link, just ETH and 1. Send request 1 time. There's that password again.
Your teacher is showing.
That's right. Hey, I can see you putting 2 in right now because you're thinking nobody's going to know. I see you back there. I'm watching you. So this should get you started where you can have Ronan. We've got that faucet. This is base Sepolia. You'll be good to go.
Awesome. All right.
Real world math doesn't work like that. People are crazy. I don't disagree with this sentiment.
Cafe, you just click to the right of it. There's a bug in the drop down.
Yeah, if things are weird and wonky, just refresh. And yeah.
Yeah, you have to actually click to the right of the word, like in the right margin almost for it to
So
shift.
I click here, it doesn't
Don't
work.
no, to the right, yeah.
If I click here, it works.
Yeah.
Let's see if we still have some balance left.
We're blockchain
we
developers, not UI.
Look at that. Look at that. People are being good.
Good.
Can you ask
yeah,
for
this is a
0.5
good
twice?
group.
You can if you
Day
want.
3 is best.
But you're supposed to ask for one time. Or 0.5 one time. But you can't, Charles.
Math. Alrighty. I think we are good. I want to. I don't want the stream to be too long.
Dragging on. Cool. If you're watching the stream after the fact, there may be something left in the faucet. Good luck.
Yes. Have an amazing day, and thank you all. We super appreciate you. Looking forward to hearing from you. Community is in my heart, and this is a labor of love doing stuff like this, putting ourselves out on the internet for free, and all the training's free. So I hope it gives some of you that motivation to get at it, because we all need that nowadays in 2025.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Thank you everybody for joining. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, Solange. Solange is not here, but she did an amazing work for this bootcamp. So please shout out in the chat to Richard, Dave, and Solange. Thank you everybody for joining, and we will see you in the next hackathon.
Fantastic. See you later.